The Boston Red Sox have some major problems in the early stages of this MLB season. I'm here to break down the early offensive struggles as well as how three players in specific are simply severely struggling up to this point in the season and really what to expect for a turnaround from this Red Sox offense. Welcome back to Red Sox Digest. I'll be breaking down all of that on this episode. But first, before we get to the news and information, please do remember to scroll down and subscribe if you're not already. If you're a part of the 90% currently watching this video, not currently subscribed, scroll down and click that subscribe button. We do appreciate the love and support. So now let's get to it and break down the early season struggles from this Boston Red Sox organization. Now, for the season overall, it has not been great, but over the last 7 days specifically, it has been even worse. Now, the start for the season, the Boston Red Sox lead the MLB in strikeouts through 17 games with 165 Ks through that time, leading the MLB ahead of teams like the Colorado Rockies as well as others. Again, striking out at an outlandish clip. And again, it's worse over the last 7 days if you even believe that. Now, over the last 7 days specifically, the Boston Red Sox offense has 1 home run through 6 games. They have 11 RBIs and 66 strikeouts in 7 days, which is 6 games. That's 11 strikeouts as a team per game over the last 7 days. A stretch that is not going to get the job done. Something that cannot continue to happen, or the Red Sox offense is going to go from non-existent to even worse. Comparing to teams like the Colorado Rockies, and even worse, we're going to set the standard for being the worst offense in baseball at this rate. And again, I have a lot of optimism. This Red Sox team on paper is filthy, and we talked about it all off season long, how being 9th in total offense last season and going out and acquiring players like Christian Campbell, like Alex Bregman, we're not going to do anything but boost this offense. But players like Trevor Story, players like Tristan Casas, and Ceddanne Rafaela are struggling so severely, as well as others. But again, those 3 guys we are going to focus on because, again, to start this MLB season, it has not been great. So again, over the last 7 days, over the last 6 days, the Red Sox have 1 home run, 11 RBIs, and again, 66 strikeouts in those 6 games, striking out 11 times on average over those 6 games as a team. Simply not going to get the job done. Again, breaking down this, it is a team statistic, breaking down as a team. How do the Red Sox rank in plate discipline? Well, if we look at whiff percentage, they rank 6th in the MLB, and that is not a good thing. In the sense, it is a 27.5% whiff rate. If you look at the swing percentages, leading the MLB, swinging at 50% of the pitches that they see, resulting in a chase percentage that is nearly 30%. This is resulting in a lot of strikeouts, which again, we just highlighted by the numbers, striking out 11 times on average over the last 6 days. But again, leading the strikeouts overall through 17 games of this early MLB season. Now, is it a team collective issue? Yes, but there are, again, 3 players in specific that we have to mention. The first one being Tristan Casas. And yes, you do see 2 percentiles in the higher 85 percentile range. But again, that is the bat speed as well the LA sweet spot percentage. Those 2 things are in the higher percentiles for Tristan Casas. Outside of that, the square up rate is in the 3rd percentile of the MLB. That is abysmal, and that's not the only thing that really stands out. The whiff percentage in the bottom 17th percentile for Tristan Casas. The K percentage in the bottom 25th percentile for Casas, as well as things like expected WOBA, expected batting average, expected slugging, the average exit velocity, all way, way down. Not only the Tristan Casas' averages, but amongst the entire MLB up to this point in the season. And again, that's not even mentioning at the very bottom, the bottom 1 percentile of not only fielding, but of base running for Tristan Casas. And again, that's a totally different conversation that will probably result in a video strictly just breaking down Tristan Casas and really what's been going on up to this point in the season, which you could expect going forward if he continues these early season struggles, as he has not been really all that great for the Boston Red Sox, batting 185 through the first 17 games. And again, he is only 25 years of age with a whole lot of potential. The potential to hit 40-plus bombs if things really shape up for Tristan Casas while being the cleanup hitter in this dominant Red Sox offense. Again, these are all things that were expected going into this MLB season. But again, through the first 17 games, we haven't got anything relatively close to that level of production, specifically from Triston Casas, as Alex Cora just recently moved him from hitting in the cleanup spot in the 4-hole to down in the 6-hole, again, only batting 185 with the offensive production that is at a bare minimum. The second guy that we have to acknowledge is Ceddanne Rafaela. This is someone who was expanding the strike zone at an outrageous clip last season. And again, he's doing it again this year. The chase rate is in the bottom 1 percentile. That is not an exaggeration. That is not a joke. He is expanding the zone and chasing outside the zone more than anybody in the entire MLB. Now, I will say the whiff rate as well as the K percentages are not as low as you would expect. He has the ability to put bat on ball despite it being outside of the strike zone. But again, the walk percentages are just below league average because of that. And Ceddanne Rafaela has excellent speed and has the ability to run the bases at such a high percentage and at such a good level. You would like to see someone like Ceddanne be able to work more walks, not expand the strike zone so much, again, resulting in strikeouts, not nearly as much as someone like Triston Casas or the next guy we're going to really highlight. But again, if he was able to cut down on the expanding the strike zone, be able to take those free passes to get on the first base, he would be able to use those legs in that outlandish speed to move around the bases like we've seen the Red Sox do early on in this early stages of the MLB. Almost, I think we're second in the league in steals overall as a team, as again, Jarren Duran as well as others have done a great job at moving around the base paths once getting there, whether it be by base hits or free passes via getting hit by pitch or walks. Again, Rafaela's other things that we have to address about Rafaela's offensive production, the expected batting average, WOBA, slugging, the average exit velocity, the barrel percentage, the hard hit rate, the sweet spot, the bat speed, all of this stuff is way, way down, as well as, again, like we mentioned earlier, the base on ball percentage. Below league average as well as way below league average in all of those major categories that we just mentioned. And for the season, he's batting .229, which is a bit higher than Triston Casas, which again, we have to say is a bit of an improvement in the sense that he's not striking out at such a high clip. But again, the overall production is down because of the expansion of the strike zone that Rafaela goes into every at-bat really attacking with. He does not have a problem in the sense of really his mindset of going out there and chasing pitches outside the strike zone, which again is resulting in not hard hit balls. The contact percentages are down in the whiff rates, or excuse me, not the whiff rates, but the overall chase percentages are in the bottom 1 percentile of the entire MLB. We need things to really change for these two guys, including in the third guy, in Trevor Story, in order for these Red Sox numbers in the sense of strikeouts to really go down. And again, the final guy we're going to acknowledge in the sense of these three guys is Trevor Story, someone who has been a lot better this season up to this point. He's been healthy. He's hitting for a decent average, hitting above 300, 334 actually, up to this point in the season, which is great overall production. But again, Trevor Story is severely struggling when it comes down to striking out in the overall chase rate. If you look at the bottom, again, a lot of league average all the way up to the bat speed. That's where things really start to taper off. The squared up rate, way down. The chase rate, the bottom 3 percentile, just like Rafaela in chase rate in Trevor Story. The whiff percentage in the bottom percentile, way below league average. Things like K percentage as well as base on ball percentage, way down amongst the entirety of the league. These things are major problems for the Red Sox because it's not just Trevor Story. Like we've already mentioned, Casas, Rafaela, Jarren Duran hasn't been great up to this point in the year, starting relatively slow like we saw last year. But then Trevor Story being another piece to the pie where, again, things where it comes down to the strikeout percentage, the whiff rate, the base on ball percentage is exponentially down, resulting in a lack of free passes to first base and an increase in chase percentage, an expanding of the strike zone, resulting in not great hard hit contact, resulting in no walks, resulting in a lot of whiffs, resulting in a lot of Ks for these three guys, which is something that we have to get around if the Red Sox want to go back to being in the top 10 of all of baseball in offensive production. Now, the last 7 days, which is something that we've been specifically really mentioning and highlighting for these Boston Red Sox. 2-5 over those last 7 games. If you look at the Toronto Blue Jays series, the offensive production was abysmal. And thinking that, hey, we're going to the White Sox, we're going to get a 3-game series at Chicago, so a team that we can beat up on, really find our groove, find the offensive rhythm that we saw from the Red Sox against the St. Louis Cardinals, who were a great offensive team, someone they had to put up runs against to beat. It didn't happen. They fell off a cliff going back home to play against the Toronto Blue Jays, only putting up a total of 7 runs in a 4-game series against those Toronto Blue Jays, and 3 of them came in that final game, which resulted in a walk-off win for the Boston Red Sox, a win that a lot of people wouldn't even say we deserved because of the umpiring, which I will argue went both ways, was abysmal in that 4th and final game of the first season series against the Toronto Blue Jays. Resulted in a 3-4 win, again, in walk-off fashion. Willie Abreu came in and pitch hit. He came in, he got 2 at-bats, one of them being the walk-off single that won the Red Sox the game in a well-needed win because, again, a 3-game slide against an in-division rival is really not going to get it done, especially early in this part of the season. Again, it took 2 extra inning games, resulting in no offense from the Boston Red Sox in that series against the Toronto Blue Jays. Then we go to Chicago to play the Chicago White Sox. We get beat 11-1. Again, a lack of offensive production, and overall the pitching was not great in that first game. And then again, 3-2, only putting up 2 runs against the Chicago White Sox team, who does not really have the established pitching staff that you would expect to see putting up numbers like this against an offense in the Red Sox who have all of the capabilities, at least on paper. And again, we have seen it for spurts through this point in the season. Again, we're only 17 games in, but again, against a team in the St. Louis Cardinals who have a great offense, we needed to go out there and put up points and put up runs to be in order to really compete in that series, which the Red Sox were capable of doing. But then again, to fall off the cliff the way they did against a Toronto Blue Jays team and then the Chicago White Sox going 2-5 over their last 7 is simply not going to get the job done. Now, the White Sox did lose their final game against the Red Sox just yesterday, Sunday, April 13th. But again, it took another heroic effort from the Red Sox in order to do that, and specifically from Garrett Crochet, the ace of the Red Sox, who pitched 7 7 innings of no-hit baseball before being pulled. And again, obviously, the one hit he gave up was to a player that we traded to the White Sox in exchange for Garrett Crochet and Chase Meredith. Crochet's line 7 1/3, 1 hit, 1 run, 1 walk in 11 Ks through that 7 1/3 innings. Absolutely dominance from Crochet, but it did not result in really an outstanding effort from the Red Sox, as again, they only put up 3 runs, resulting in a 3-1 win over those Chicago White Sox, who again have been subpar up to this point in the year. This is something the Red Sox quickly need to adjust and really correct in order to get out in front of some of these teams like the Blue Jays and the Yankees, and now going to Tampa Bay to play a season series against the Tampa Bay Rays, who are scrappy and really just a team of mercenaries who are willing to put up a fight against anyone in the MLB. The Red Sox need to quickly adjust these things at the plate. Cut down on the expansion of the strike zone. Try to cut down on these strikeouts and result in better contact. Get on base. Be able to move around those base paths and use the overall speed amongst this roster. Again, that'll be it for this episode of Red Sox Digest. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys on the next one.